Hello, this is Dinah Lane from Harwich Channel 18, and I'm here today with Bernadette Waystack, who is the new chair of the Harwich Cultural Council. And I'm delighted to have her here to fill us in on all the things having to do with the Harwich Cultural Council that people need to know. Full disclosure, I am also a member of the council, and so we were both aware that it might be good for people to hear more about what we actually are designed to do and what we are attempting to do. So welcome, Bernadette.
Thank you, Dinah.
It's very nice to see you.
It's good to see you.
Not at a meeting.
Yes.
So it's a busy fall for everybody, I know, and in particular for the Harwich Cultural Council, we have some things going on. But first, what I'd like to do is ask you if you would just tell people what the mission is, because surprisingly enough, it seems that many people are not really aware of what the Cultural Council is for. So perhaps we could just start with the mission.
Sure, I agree with you on that people aren't always aware. So right off the website, at the town website, the mission of the Harwich Cultural Council is dedicated to fostering the creative spirit through the organization, funding, and promotion of cultural activities and initiatives that serve the people of Harwich. And I think that maybe part of what gets fuzzy for people is, what do you mean by cultural? A lot of times people hear cultural and think arts, and they think just maybe the visual and performing arts. It also includes the literary arts. It includes all of the humanities and the interpretive sciences. So there's a lot when you talk about culture and the collective history and social goings on of a community that comes under that umbrella of culture. And we're here to help serve and provide funding for all of that.
That's right. And maybe we could even give some examples of the range of programs that we have funded, because that is primarily what we do. We are set up to entertain applications for various cultural activities for different age groups, all age groups in the town of Harwich. And we are under also the umbrella of the Massachusetts Cultural Council. We should say that, because Massachusetts Cultural Council oversees all the local councils, and we are just one of many, many, many local cultural councils, but this is ours. And so this is what we are talking about and what we're doing. Perhaps you could give a few examples of things that we have funded in the past, and then we can talk about the grant cycle, which is actually going on right now and has a deadline of October 15th.
Sure. And you may be able to chime in with some too. Full disclosure, I've only been a member of the council for a little over a year. Yes. So, and that 1 year was one of these very tumultuous COVID times where it was not a typical year. But thinking back to some of the grantees and applications in our last grant cycle, one of the first I'm thinking of is the Cape Cod Poetry Review. We funded a substantial amount of grant money for, well, substantial to them, enough for them to publish their 12th volume this year. And if I'm not mistaken, they have been a grantee in the past. I'm trying to, after just saying that it's not just all literary and visual arts, I want to think about other areas that it might touch upon in interpretive sciences. I know that the Blue Institute, which works for conservation and ocean issues in the town of Harwich, had, I think, been funded for some money for their Words on Water program, where they have a festival to bring attention to that issue. And it involves poetry, short stories, and plays.
It also, I could chime in here if you.
Yeah, please do.
If you like. Some social programs for children, for students. There are things that we fund for whole school class groups to go on field trips. There have been science activities funded in the past. And then there are lots of things for elders as well. I always like to think about the full range, you know, from kids up to 90, 100 years old can take advantage of some of the programs that we fund.
Right. And some of those programs, you're right, they're multi-generational across the whole community. And
Mhm.
others are maybe targeting a specific area or a specific demographic.
Mhm.
But what they all have in common is it's to support and enhance the lives of people in Harwich.
That's right, exactly. It's supposed to be well-rounded, and that is
Mhm.
part of our mission as we look at all the applications, is trying to be sure that we are uh, allowing for a broad range of activities to be funded. So
Yes.
that we are really doing our job to try to help everybody from every aspect of the humanities and the life sciences and the artistic and cultural activities.
Yes.
So, okay, so if you could just give a few specifics about the grant cycle. I mentioned that the applications are due on the 15th of October.
Mhm.
And if you could just tell people where to look if they are interested in applying for funds.
Sure. Everything is done online this year. There are no more paper applications to be printed out, downloaded, or mailed away. They are all online. And on the Cultural Council's site on the harwich-mass.gov website for the town, you can find the tab for the Cultural Council. And on it, there are, in addition to the mission and the meeting dates and times, there's a whole set of tabs to the left. The very top one gives you the 2022 funding proposal application. You can click on that, and what it's going to do is take you right to the masscultural.org website and to the place where you actually do your application online. It also includes our funding priorities, which talks a little bit about what Dinah and I have just talked about in terms of how we try to determine what we're going to allocate the funds for and what we're going to be looking for. It says we grant funds used for arts, humanity, or interpretive sciences. We want to provide equal access and demonstrate a public benefit to Harwich. Again, what we just sort of alluded to. And it's, it's really a broad thing. There are 7 different points. So I would encourage anybody, because they find that a lot of things can fit within this umbrella of what we're looking for in terms of programs and opportunities for people in our town and for what we will support and fund.
Yeah.
There is also probably most helpful for folks, especially because this year it's gone online, is a tab about the grant application tutorial. There's actually a YouTube video link. You can go right in there, and the folks from MCC will take you right through the process. It's very simple, very easy, and it's all right there online, and they will walk you right through it so that it's very easy to navigate, even if it's a new experience for you.
However, we should mention that if anyone does have a problem, an insuperable problem that they would like some advice about, some help with, they can contact us. And how would they go about doing that?
They can contact us at Harwich Cultural Council. I don't have the email correct here, but it's also on there. We can be contacted through the Cultural Council email, and I know it's here somewhere.
Yes.
And I'll dig it out for you. But it's culturalcouncil.harwich@gmail.com. And everybody can write into that, and I monitor that that address and can get back to people in more depth as needed.
Yes, great, good. So people can feel that it's not a faceless organization. And
No,
if
yep,
you do want some assistance, please feel free to reach out, and Bernadette will respond as soon
absolutely.
as she can. So this is great. I think it's occurring to me that some people may be interested in where our funding comes from. And I thought it might be useful to mention that we get funding both from the Massachusetts Cultural Council each year for our grant cycle, as well as from the town.
Yes.
And that is, we have the amount before we start figuring out how many grants we're going to give and which grants we're going to give, so that we know exactly what we're dealing with.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. And the town, and they come in on different cycles. The towns is, if I'm remembering correctly, the towns is fiscal year. the state is calendar year, so the
Right.
state has just come in. We already have the town money allocated and approved at town meeting back in May for the coming fiscal year. And so, you know, we're very lucky because not in every case does the town necessarily provide money. We're an arm of the Mass Cultural Council, and the LCCs all get money dispersed to them from the Mass Cultural Council,
Right.
but not necessarily does each town or city also give money. Harwich always has supported the arts and does it in this way by demonstrably by giving a good chunk of money each year to help support and you know, enlarge that amount of cash. We also have a gift account, and that's a unique thing with this particular, what people would think of as a town council or a town board of one of the many volunteer boards in town, that we are allowed to raise funds. Unlike some of the other boards and entities in town that have to have a friends group, a formal friends group to do it. But this is a little bit different because it's overseen and run and you know, done by the state. So there's also a gift account that we are able to utilize and use to augment where we might need to, or for very specific needs by the council, like postage, things like that. And we're allowed to raise funds for that. So that's another unique thing about this particular town entity.
Yes. And we should talk about the fact that we actually have 2 openings for council members. And so if there is anyone in our listening audience who is interested in perhaps participating in the town, the work of the town, and specifically with the Cultural Council, there is a volunteer form that is able to be filled out online, which is through the Selectman's office, I believe.
Yes.
And we would welcome anyone who would be interested. And the process is that you fill out the form, and then there is a selectman interview committee, and they interview anyone who is interested and approve their candidacy for the council. So it would be great if anyone does have an interest in this kind of thing. We would love to have you join us. And so just wanted to mention that. So now, finally, I just wanted to ask you about the cultural districts, and if you could just say a little bit about the cultural districts, because I know we have been designated in the past few years as having potentially 2 cultural districts in Harwich, which is really a wonderful possibility for us. Things got a little bit delayed through COVID, but if you could just update us however you can at the moment on where things stand, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah, we are very lucky and unique in that they have approved us to look towards developing and designating 2 separate and distinct districts, the Harwich Center District and the Harwich Port District. And there was a meeting that myself and Cindy Williams from the Chamber of Commerce, who has been pivotal and a spearhead in getting a lot of this done. We met with Luis Otto, who's the director of cultural district programs, and our liaison for our LLC, who's Ricky Guillaume. We met last week, and so things are getting back on track. As you say, things got derailed. Everything for everybody got derailed during COVID. But they were very close prior to that. They were in the final stages of making that official. So we're back on track and actively working towards that. It's not common, you're not going to find it any longer, that a community is going to have more than 1 cultural district. So we're very unique and very special in that regard.
Lucky. Yes.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate. And the other interesting thing that we talked about and reiterated in the meeting, which is something worth letting people know, when you're talking about a cultural district, you're talking about an area of a community that has cultural assets. You know, what those cultural assets can vary from community to community. It also is navigable, meaning that it's a specific area that you can travel through and to. not necessarily a walking district. So you might be surprised when we get these districts established and it's made official to realize how very broad they may be, encompassing a long length of Route 28, for example, in Harwich Port, and encompassing White House Field and Monomoy High School and the community center, all the way through the center of Harwich and off to the
library and so forth.
Yeah, and down across and down Sisson Road to you know, to the cultural center, obviously, and other areas. So and it's a fluid and living thing at this point. Certain entities that were in place pre-COVID may no longer be actively part of it, because it may be a business or a nonprofit or a group or something that just because of COVID is no more. Yeah, so it's very exciting, and we'll have more information coming on that. Our next meeting is October 14th. We meet on the second Thursday of the month. Except for, I should mention for anyone who's interested, and all these dates are on the website as well. We meet at the Cultural Center at Sisson Road in Harwich, second Thursday of the month. In November, the second Thursday is Veterans Day holiday, so we'll be meeting 1 week earlier on November 4th. But typically it's second Thursday of the month at 4 o'clock at the Cultural Center. And it is a public meeting open to the public, and everyone is welcome to join us. If anyone has any interest in seeing, you know, what we're doing, or has any input or public comment for us, they're always welcome to come and attend and sit in on the meetings.
Absolutely. And in fact, when we were talking about the possibility of gaining new members, it would be a great way, if you had any interest, to come and observe a meeting.
Exactly.
Ahead of time, before you decide whether you'd like to actually put your name in as a volunteer. So
yeah,
that's another thing that you could think about doing. So I think we have covered just about everything we intended to. Do you have any more thoughts, Bernadette?
No, I think that's it. Just again, you know, we meet second Thursday of the month. Please check the website. You'll find all of this information and more. And the grant cycle does have a firm deadline of 11:59 p.m. on, I think it's Thursday, October 15th.
Yeah,
it is firm this year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So anyone that's interested in possibly putting a proposal in needs to be, you know, submitted online by that time. And if you're at all thinking about it, I'd encourage you to do it. If you have questions, just email us and we can clarify. But you know, people should really consider that they probably do have something to offer this community. And if they think they do, please apply.
Absolutely, I second that. Okay, thank you so much, Bernadette, for your time and coming on and sharing this with me. And so we can let people know what we're doing and how important it is to the town of Harwich. Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.
This is Dinah Lane from Harwich Channel 18. Thank you so much.